What has surprised us is not that we remained married for 50 years, but that we just lived this long. And so we're here, and God's really been good to us.
We met at the church in Wiesbaden, Germany. Danny was a member there. I was living with Roy and Edna, my aunt and uncle, and they went to that church, and so I went along with them. And that's where I met him.
Well, wait, why was Sandy in Germany? Okay, short story. Sandy was supposed to be a foreign exchange student the summer before her senior year, but the family house burnt down and she had to change high schools from Ackley High School to Hampton and forfeit her opportunity to participate in the program. Enter Uncle Roy, who happened to be serving in the Air Force and about to be stationed in Germany. He called and told Sandy, "If you'll find a way to get to Germany, I'll find a way to get you home." Of course, the family joke has been for years that the way Uncle Roy got Sandy back home was by marrying her off to Danny. Don't worry, that's not true.
And what were you doing in Wiesbaden, Germany?
Well, I was in the Air Force, and I was stationed there for 3 years. Well, I thought she talked funny because me being from Texas and she's from Iowa, she had a Midwestern brogue that I had never really heard before.
Really handsome. He had a full head of dark hair and big blue eyes and a real good smile. And I liked his southern accent.
I only remember two. One was going to a revival meeting with Merle and Cheryl Arnold over at Frankfurt. And I remember one going to a steakhouse. It was really the BX, but they had converted into a Friday night steakhouse. We went there. We went mostly at church and after church activities.
What about you?
We didn't have a vehicle of our own, and so most of our togetherness was at church, and oftentimes he would come home with Roy and Edna and the family Sunday for lunch, and we would visit, and there would be other families that came over, or they would invite us to their home for the afternoon. So there weren't too many dates as such by ourselves, but mostly with friends.
I had a ring I had bought, and it was after dinner one night at her aunt and uncle's house, and I gave her the ring.
Wow, it's a lot of fanfare. Did you get?
Sitting at the kitchen table.
Yeah.
Was it just here's a ring past the green beans, or did you?
No.
Was there any pomp and circumstance?
No,
to
we
this?
were by ourselves. It was dinner had been cleared away, and everyone else was in the other room, and we were sitting there talking. And he gave me a card, and then he gave me my ring.
Did he get down on one knee?
Oh no, no, no. Nowadays, maybe a not so tall Texan with a big smile and bright blue eyes. Always has laughter and would probably talk with anyone, strike up a conversation with anyone he meets.
I would say that she is a school teacher and that she carries herself pretty much like that. We know when she talks in her teacher voice, and she means business. But she's a caring person. She's the one that always brings the Band-Aid and the Mercure cone with us when we go. I always have an aspirin, and she's like a good Girl Scout because she's always prepared for the best. But she's a loving person. People love her, and she's thoughtful of others. Already gone to Switzerland and had a civil marriage with two other couples that we didn't even know.
Wait, you were already married? Okay, story time. The church Danny and Sandy attended in Wiesbaden was technically a mission. Therefore, the German government would not recognize a marriage performed there. In order for Sandy to be considered a legal dependent of Danny's, the U.S. Air Force required a, quote, legal marriage. Now, they could have been married by the German justice of the peace. However, doing so would require them to pay German road taxes for 7 years. So they were able to work around this by going to the American consulate in Basel, Switzerland, where they held group civil ceremonies once a month. So on May 25th, 1970, they were legally married, although they have always celebrated their church wedding as their official anniversary, June 1st, 1970, 1 week later.
We had our church wedding. Pastor his grandmother had died, and so we had a pastor over in Frankfurt that came in to marry us. He was late getting to the rehearsal. Come find out he was in severe back pain and was going to have back surgery, and so we wasn't sure whether or not he would make it through the ceremony. So we were afraid he was going to pass out on us, and also the fact that she had to step through a plate glass window to come in through the back of the church.
Yes, that was interesting. And we were swept away not with a horse and carriage, but with a VW bus. We didn't have time to be nervous because we were so concerned about Brother Gamage. He was on so many pain drugs that we really literally thought he was going to pass out in front of us as he did the ceremony. So.
Yeah. We went to the Amelia Earhart for our reception, and they wouldn't let you bring in a cake. Well, we had already had one of our church members make one, and so we ended up with 2 cakes. We got permission. I think Uncle Roy got permission for him to bring another cake in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he finagled.
But they still had to buy the other one, and so it was a very, very nice hotel. I've ever been thankful to him for all that he did for his niece in lieu of her father. I think having our children and our grandson tops just about everything that I can think of. And people that we have brought to Christ, I think that's one of the great things that I rejoiced over. And the good friends, many good friends that we have had through the years.
Yeah, the fun of and the joy that comes with a new baby in the house, and so when Chuck was born, that was a memorable occasion. And then when you got here, it was also and the things we did together, the camping trips, the few things we did that probably didn't turn out the way we had originally thought they would, but they left some really good memories down through the years.
Just poverty when we were in seminary. I remember one time we had a dime one dime. And I told her, I said, I'm going to go call my mama with this dime. I'll get the dime back, and I'll go over and get us a Coke with 2 straws at this little Coke stand. And so I went, and I put the dime in, and I called mama. And when I hung up, the phone booth just started spitting out nickels and dimes and quarters. And so I thought, what am I going to do? And I thought, well, they told me in seminary I'd be tested by integrity, and so I thought, well, this is the test. So I took my dime and I called the operator back and I told her what happened. I thought maybe she'd just say keep the money, but no, she told me to count all the money back in, beginning with the quarters. And so I counted all that money back in, and she thanked me for my honesty. And I said, ma'am, I said, you didn't punch my dime back. She said, I can't do that. She said, if you'll give me your address, I'll mail it to you. And so I had to go back and tell her that I just gave all this money back to the telephone operator, and I didn't get my dime back, so she won't have her Coke.
Things were pretty lean at times, but God's blessed us, even when we didn't know where the last thing was coming from. It appeared somehow, some way, and usually through God's people. And when Chuck was hurt and was in the hospital, that was a rough time.
Yeah, it was.
When we both lost our parents. When Danny was diagnosed with cancer and he went through all the surgery and had such a rough time that fall. Those were some rough days, but through each and every trial, we've learned to trust, and the Lord has always taken care of us.
We had talked about that up front, and knew that it's going to take whatever the Lord gave us. And we did. We got one of each kind, and that was it. So.
And I told the Lord, I said, we have one of each kind. I think that's plenty. And
Yeah.
He agreed, apparently. We have 2 beautiful children, Charles and Holly. Oh, goodness, he was, parenthood does not come with a manual. He was a very active child, climbed on everything. Grandpa used to say if he could get his fingers on the edge of the moon, he'd climb there too. The doctor gave him medicine to calm him down once, and he broke the medicine bottle and spilled it. So we just figured that wasn't to be. Was it about 3.5 years later, Holly came along. Big blue eyes and long eyelashes.
Yeah.
And everyone oohed and awed over the pretty little girl with the big blue eyes. We took you home, and after a couple days you cried, and Chuck finally looked at you one day and looked at me and he says, Mama, take her back. You had your tussles. Chuck learned how to irritate you, and you learned how to irritate me by squealing. I've always been very proud of both of you. We welcomed a wonderful son-in-law and into the family, and just a couple years ago, a beautiful grandson that we just loved to death.
I would concur with everything that she said. Super proud of our kids and her grandson. We're glad he came along, and her son-in-law.
Paul's worked hard and is very bright in many, many areas. Well, he told me when he asked me to marry him, he said, if you'll marry me, we'll have a time. So we've had a time. There's been some ups and some downs. Some, everybody has good times and bad times. We have been privileged to meet and know some of the most gracious people in the world over the years.
We've we served the Lord for all the years that we've been married. We got married. We came back from Germany, and I went to seminary, and she worked to help pay the bills, and we never were rich. We scraped by. We raised two great kids, and it's been a joy to have our grandson now, and so it's been a good ministry, and it's really been a team effort.
Funny. He can always make me laugh. Caring. I don't know anybody that cares more for the people, the members of our church than he does. He's humble. He never gives you the impression that he's better than anybody else. He's just, what you see is what you get. I don't know, that's 3. He's loving. And he's most appreciative of all that the Lord has blessed us with.
She's a beautiful lady inside and out. She is giving. She is caring for people that are sick. She's the one that has a remedy for most everything. And she is very conservative. She's never been a spendthrift. And she loves her kids and her grandson. That's more than 5 words, but that's the best I can do.
That's okay.
All right, if you remembered the newlywed game, you'll remember that the goal is to answer the question as you predict your spouse will answer the same question. If their answer matches your prediction, you get 5 points. Same rules apply for the not so newlywed game. Let's see how they
come
did.
up with the same answers that she gave. So, first one, where did you meet? What did she say?
Church.
Where's-
Wiesbaden.
All right. What'd you say, Mom?
The church in Wiesbaden, Germany.
Ding, 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 ding. Good. All right. Right off the bat, you got one right. All right. Who is the better driver?
Oh, she is, definitely.
All right. What did you say? Ding, 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 ding. She said, I am. Good.
She thinks she is.
Third one. Who is more organized?
Oh, she is.
That's correct. Very good. What is Mom's dream vacation spot?
I'd be Hawaii. It's a guess.
She had a hard time, but she said the Grand Caymans.
Oh, okay.
I always
Yeah.
want to go back there.
All right. What is Mom's favorite movie?
She's not much of a movie person.
What's your sign say, Mom? She said, I don't know that I have a favorite.
Yeah.
We'll count that as right. Very good. What is Mom's most repeated sentence or phrase?
Yes. When she answers the phone, she always says yes. Call somebody, she says yes.
What did you say, Mom? Good night,
Good night,
nurse. I finished this sentence. You know Sandy's really angry when she blank.
She don't talk.
She said, when the tears start to flow.
She cries all the time with her tear ducts, so I don't know. She's crying or when she's just having a physical problem.
Who's more stubborn?
Oh, she is.
She agreed. Last one. Who is more likely to be running late?
She is.
She said you.
When do I run late? I never run late.
You go out to the car and then you come back 2
Well,
or 3 times.
Yeah. I guess I did.
What is Dad's favorite snack?
Klondike bars.
Hold up your card. Ice cream. Very good. We'll count that one. Yes. Ding. Very good. All right. Next one. What is Dad's favorite song?
Elvis Presley and Blue Hawaii, I guess.
Hold the paper up. Victory in Jesus.
Oh, okay.
When and where was your first kiss?
In the back seat of Danny and Shirley Vessel's car. Probably in October or November of '69.
All right. He said, I don't know when, but it was probably in the back seat of Uncle Roy's car. What was the first meal that you ever cooked for Dad? And was it any good?
I remember what the meal was, but I made homemade rolls, and I don't know what the main dish was, but I guess it turned out pretty good.
What was it, Dad? You made him breakfast or eggs. And he said everything she cooks is good.
Oh, that's sweet.
What frightens Dad the most?
Not being able to keep the house and the grounds up the way he would like to.
Okay. What did you say, Dad? Being a beggar.
Oh,
What bill does Dad complain about the most?
I guess the water bill.
Oh, that was a close one. He said the
Tele-
telephone bill.
Oh, okay.
They were a close tie.
All those taxes.
Almost.
Like I said, water bill first.
You said water bill or telephone
Our
bill.
telephone was what I said.
Yeah. Who did Dad last date before he met you?
A girl by the name of Penny from England.
Her name was Ruth.
Ruth. Okay. Well, but she was that British girl.
Yeah.
Okay.
She had a friend named Penny.
Oh, she had a friend named Penny. Well, I
Yeah.
was in the ballpark.
Who says I'm sorry first after a fight?
He does.
Very good. Ding, 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 ding. Finish this sentence. It really drives Danny crazy when people blank.
Aren't faithful to their duties at church.
What'd you say, Dad?
Oh, cut
When
you
they
off.
cut me off in traffic. What does it say in small print?
Left lane to the right. Yeah. He's had a number.
Keep reading the whole thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, the left lane to the right lane and then turn without a signal. He went on about it for 5 minutes.
He got really amped up when I asked him.
I guess being able to remember and everything we need to. Uh, as you get older, the forgetfulness and the hearing goes. To spend the rest of our lives together. I've always hoped that Danny could eventually retire and be able to do some fishing. He loves to fish. I don't fish, but I love to go along and read books while he's fishing. So
We'll see friends. We've made a lot of friends through the years, and so to be able to, at some juncture, be able to free to go. We still want to serve the Lord. I want to serve Him until He calls me home.
Okay, so maybe Mom should go first.
you said we'd have a time, and we have. We have, and we'll have a time until the Lord takes us home.
Well, like I said, beginning, it's just we two became one. That's the way we planned it. That's the way it's happened. That's the way it'll end.
I appreciate him standing by me. A couple of years ago, before I had my back surgery, there were for several weeks prior to, he had to literally help me out of bed and get the ice pack for me, and stood by and watched me beat on my leg until the pain subsided and I could get on with my day. And he's always been there for me, and I love him and appreciate him, and I will forever. I think that means he loves me.
$613 months together, 50 years of marriage, 18,262 days, 12 different addresses, 2 continents, 2 states, 8 churches, 2 children and 1 son-in-law, 1 grandson, around 4,000 students taught, approximately 5,250 sermons preached, 1 unforgettable lifelong love. All the places we've been, all the beauty we've seen, all the love we've shared. Where, oh where will our next journey be?